Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So to follow on from the previous video, which were the new restructured top 10 heavyweight rankings according to Boxrec. Now, I've always given Boxrec all the credit in the world. I'll give these guys shout outs. While we can never agree with anybody's ranking system, but I always felt that Boxrec had it as close to what the majority of the world would look at. And that would be inclusive of not just the heavyweights, but up and down the weight divisions, including pound for pound. I don't really follow pound for pound too much, but with these guys doing a complete restructure, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. They're having a complete overhaul of their point system and all this kind of thing. But I've always given these guys a shout out because I always felt that they were unbiased. They didn't show favoritism. Everybody has favoritism, okay? But they weren't particularly showing great favoritism towards any kind of promotional company, any kind of fighters or anything like that. They were basing it on who is it that you fought, how many fights have you had, how did the fight go, was it a split decision, was it a majority decision, was it a knockout later in the fight, was it a knockout early in the fight, how did you perform, all that kind of thing, which I totally agreed with. Other sanctioning bodies, in my personal opinion, are corrupt to high hell, which is why I always gave Boxrec the benefit. But on the new rankings with a new structure, it makes me question them. And I'm disappointed because I gave these guys a shout out, showing that these guys were more credible than the rest of them. And now I feel a little bit embarrassed because of what it is that they've done with their whole restructure. Now, following that video, a lot of people saying, well, what were the rankings before the restructure? Now, I had the rankings as in screenshot from January, which there is a massive difference. But of course, quite a few fights have happened since January to this point. So I didn't have a screenshot of what the rankings were. I knew them pretty much off the top of my head, but I couldn't show it to you. But now I can show it to you. And thank you very much to Andrew Hatch for sending me this particular screenshot. And we're going to do a side-by-side comparison between the rankings within days after the Wilder Fury rematch and what the new structure is right now. Bearing in mind that since that time, the only real heavyweight fight that's kind of really happened that would alter any of the top is Adam Kownacki losing to Robert Helenius. That's the only one that would be different. But them having a complete restructure, I'm starting to sense that there is a lot of bias going on with Boxrec, and that disappoints me, really, really disappoints me. Because I think what they've done is, again, Boxrec, okay? Boxrec, they follow me on social media. I copied them in on the last video and I sent them a private message as well. As of right now, they haven't responded. But hopefully they will. I've invited whoever is in charge of the ranking systems to come onto the channel and let everybody know what it is that they've done. And maybe then we can understand why. But as of right now, I can only call it how I see it, which is complete bias. The way that they've structured it is who they genuinely believe is the best. So what they've done is bias. And when you do ranking systems, you can't show bias. Now, I could give you my bias rankings and I can give you my unbiased rankings. And it'd be the unbiased rankings would be the ones that's more credible. All right. And it's not difficult to work out. Now, don't get me wrong. These guys go through hundreds and thousands of fighters. For me, I could probably give you a top 30, potentially a top 50 that most would probably agree with there or thereabouts. Okay. But Boxrec have really dropped the ball on this one. So the new rankings after the restructure are as follows. Tyson Fury 1, Deontay Wilder 2, Anthony Joshua 3, Alexander Usyk 4, Alexander Povetkin 5, Andy Ruiz Jr. 6, Dillian Whyte number 7, Michael Hunter 8, Derek Chisora 9, Luis Ortiz 10. I'm just keeping it simple with the top 10. But right after the Wilder Fury fight, it's totally different. Because Wilder, while he's currently number 2 on 619 points, after he got his ass handed to him by Tyson Fury, he had 481 points and dropped down to 5th. And that's more accurate because Wilder, he's got a terrible, terrible resume. He's had a lot of fights, but a terrible resume. And his last fight, he got butchered, absolutely annihilated. Lost every second of every round. Got bounced up and down off the canvas on numerous occasions. Twice officially, but it should have been a lot more. And his team threw in the towel. So effectively, he quit. Right? But yet somehow, he gets boosted to number 2 and gains more points since that fight. How does that happen? Because a couple of days after that fight, Boxrec, of course, these guys are very, very good at keeping up to date and adding the points, deducting the points as and when necessary, had this top 10. Anthony Joshua 1, Tyson Fury 2, Alexander Usyk 3, Andy Ruiz 4, Deontay Wilder 5, Dillian Whyte 6, Povetkin 7, Kubrat Pulev 8, Luis Ortiz 9, Derek Chisora 10. Now, them swapping Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua around, I don't have a problem. Okay, I don't care if Tyson Fury is number 1 or Anthony Joshua is number 1. I don't care. There's an argument to be had for both. All right, and as to who will win, well, let's see the fight and find out. Okay, so them replacing Anthony Joshua with Tyson Fury as number 1, I don't have a problem with it. I know many people will, but I personally don't. Okay, but to have Joshua drop down to number 3 behind Deontay Wilder, when Anthony Joshua is a unified heavyweight champion of the world. Yes, he's got 1 loss on his resume, but Wilder's got 1 loss on his resume too, and a draw. Anthony Joshua has defeated every man that he's ever stepped foot in the ring with. So his 1 loss, he actually avenged it, and is a unified heavyweight champion of the world. Deontay Wilder has no belt. None whatsoever. And just based on their current rankings, Deontay Wilder has fought and defeated 2 opponents, Luis Ortiz and Dominic Breazeale, from the top 21. Don Breazeale being number 21, Luis Ortiz is currently number 10. Yes, he has fought and defeated Luis Ortiz twice, but Anthony Joshua has fought and defeated 6 of the current top 21 based on their rankings. So already, you can already see the flaws. Massive flaws. So Joshua is a unified heavyweight champion of the world. Outstanding resume, as their own rankings prove. Joshua has fought and defeated 6 of the current top 21. Joshua, potentially 7 next, if he defeats Kubrat Pulev. Wilder has fought and defeated 2, Luis Ortiz and Dominic Breazeale. Dillian Whyte has fought and defeated 4 of the top 21. And potentially 5 next if he defeats Povetkin. But yet somehow you've got Deontay Wilder, who is not a champion, ahead of Dillian Whyte by quite a few distance as well, quite a few rankings. Yet Dillian Whyte is a WBC interim world heavyweight champion. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's not a new thing, okay? It means that if, for example, Tyson Fury, he can't fulfill a certain date, if he gets injured, he can't fulfill it, if he gets stripped, if he vacates it, whatever it may be, Dillian Whyte will become the automatic full heavyweight champion. And he will defend that belt, and when Tyson Fury is fit and able to return, he will then get the first crack at the heavyweight world title. So he'll be champion in recess, effectively. That's what interim champion is. So Dillian Whyte has fought and defeated 4 of the top 21. We could say 5, because he has fought and defeated Derek Chisora twice. Wilder, currently 2. We could say 3, because he fought and defeated Luis Ortiz twice. So you can't have Wilder, certainly not above Joshua, certainly not above Fury, and certainly not above Dillian Whyte. And this isn't me being biased, I've just told you the fact. The facts are, Wilder has fought and defeated 2 of their current top 21. Now, with Alexander Usyk, currently number 4, but beforehand he was number 3. So why did he drop when he hasn't had a fight? Dillian Whyte was number 6 before, but now he's number 7. Currently with 186 points, but beforehand 383 points. So where did he lose the best part of 200 points when he hasn't fought? It doesn't make any kind of sense. None whatsoever. Alexander Povetkin, currently number 5. But beforehand, he was behind Dillian Whyte and number 7. These guys are supposed to be fighting each other next. So how do you swap positions with them? Don't get me wrong, Povetkin has a very, very good resume. If you look at it now, you go, but he hasn't fought anybody. But he has. At the time when he fought them, they were top, credible opponents. Luis Ortiz and Derek Chisora, they have swapped positions with number 9 and number 10. That's all they've done. They've literally swapped positions. I don't have too much of a problem with that one. But what I do have a problem with is that they had Pulev in at number 8, but now he's number 13. So going back onto the Wilder thing, which is the main crux of this video, which is that somebody somewhere within Boxrec have shown a lot of bias. And I won't let it go, Boxrec. Quite clearly, they know what it is I'm about, which is why they're following me on social media, because they know if I get something, if I've got a bone to pick, I won't let it go. I can't let it go. And I feel very embarrassed that I gave these guys a bit of a shout out saying how they're credible. I mean, Michael Hunter is currently number 8, but Michael Hunter before was number 12. But going back onto Wilder, sure, he's a top 10, okay? I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he hasn't earned the right to be a top 10, but he should be there or thereabouts, the same kind of level as another former world heavyweight champion, Joseph Parker. Former world heavyweight champion, Andy Ruiz Jr. Again, Ruiz Jr. has fought and defeated one in the top 21, which is Anthony Joshua, and then lost to Anthony Joshua. Derek Chisora hasn't defeated anybody of any great note, but he's been in there with some of the best. Certainly. I mean, you've got Joe Joyce in number 11, ahead of Joseph Parker. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Nothing wrong with doing a complete overhaul, but this is complete garbage. This is my point. This is my point. You can't go from Wilder being dropped down to a rightful position of around about number 5 and be pushed ahead of the unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua and ahead of the WBC heavyweight champion Dillian Whyte. It's not my British bias, this is fact. He should be there or thereabouts, the same kind of level as Andy Ruiz Jr. and Joseph Parker and Alexander Usyk. Again, Usyk, he's only had one fight at heavyweight. He has defeated a top 21 in Michael Hunter, but he fought him at cruiserweight. So Boxrec, I ain't going to let this go. I really ain't going to let this go. And while boxing's pretty quiet, it's easy to spread the word. And it won't be long before people go, man, the Boxrec rankings are crap. Don't even look at them. Don't even look at them, which is a complete polar opposite from what it was that I was trying to do before. Anyway, listen, that's my thoughts on it all. I've shown you the comparisons where they've had a complete overhaul and they've shown complete and utter stupidity or bias. Whoever has done these rankings is biased. And when you've got bias, you lose all credibility, which for me is a complete shame. It really is a shame. Anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.